Q30 Newscast. SGA hosted Chartwells Town Hall where students addressed concerns with food at Quinnipiac.
Plus, the Quinnipiac community honors its veterans by celebrating their bravery throughout the week with events happening on all 3 campuses.
And 3+1 programs keep making changes to student contracts. Find out what's been happening.
All that and more coming up on the Q30 Newscast. Good evening and welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Kaylee Heffler.
And I'm Will Fowler. We start off our show tonight with news of a student that was sexually assaulted late last night. The incident occurred at the corner of Mount Carmel Ave and New Road. Cassidy Berger is live at the scene.
Thanks, Kaylee and Will. I'm here live at the intersection between Mount Carmel Avenue and New Road, where an incident of sexual assault was reported on this very corner of campus. And an email sent to students from Chief of Public Safety Edgar Rodriguez, Hampton Police notified Quinnipiac on November 12th that a student reported being sexually assaulted on November 9th at 11 p.m. at this very intersection. The female victim was walking at this intersection when she was approached by 2 white males, approximately age 25, who were in a blue 4-door older model sedan with a loud muffler, who stopped and offered her a ride. After getting into the vehicle, the victim reported she was sexually assaulted by one of the males. The Hampton Police Department is investigating, and anyone with information pertaining to the matter is encouraged to contact Quinnipiac Public Safety. Now, if you ever feel unsafe on campus, don't forget that public safety's number is always on the back of your cue card. Reporting live from Quinnipiac University, Cassidy Berger. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Cassidy. Chartwells has come under fire recently due to student dissatisfaction over the food quality served for the Quinnipiac community, and Olivia Schuler has that story.
Some Quinnipiac students are hoping that QU Dining will reconsider their contract with Chartwells. Now here's what some students had to say.
It was disgusting. Honestly, I thought it was disgusting, and I wouldn't want to find that in my food.
A few days after the sandwich was served, a student created a petition on change.org.
I signed the petition, because why not? It can only help. It can only help to try to get the food better here.
The petition said, quote, "The food options and quality presented to Quinnipiac students are completely unacceptable and a health hazard. We're here to convince the university to reconsider their contract with Chartwells and improve food quality, safety, and prices."
I'm really happy about the petition that's going on because although I've never had bad experiences with Chartwells, you know, it's like a health issue and it needs to be addressed, and other students shouldn't have to worry about like eating the food here, and it shouldn't be like a concern.
In partnership with the SGA, we're hosting a town hall to hear all your comments, concerns, suggestions, and how we can do a better job for you, the Quinnipiac student. Wednesday night in Eklund 101 from 7 to 8 o'clock, we'll be hosting this event. Come on down and tell us what you think.
Topics at the town hall meeting included better training, customer service, and pricing. But students are doubtful any real change will come from the meeting.
Been the same problems for like as long as I've been here at least, so like why would anything change now over one thing? Like I mean, people have been trying to change things for a while and nothing has changed, so why would it now?
Now next semester, students will be able to place their orders ahead of time at both Starbucks and Au Bon Pain using the app Boost. This way they can skip the line. Reporting live at Cafe Q, Olivia Schuler, Q30 News.
Students were emailed by Jennifer Brown, interim provost, about a, quote, open discussions on issues of concerns related to the value of inclusive excellence, end quote. The discussion was led by Don Sawyer, vice president for equity and inclusion.
It's good that everyone had a chance to speak. Granted, it would be great to allow more students to speak if they felt empowered to do so, because I think a lot of the change happens on the campus comes from students. To kind of keep the pressure on faculty and staff to make sure we're doing whatever needs to be done to ensure that they're successful.
There was also an opportunity for feedback from the Quinnipiac community, including a discussion about Chick-fil-A on campus, religious life, Quinnipiac's response to controversial topics, how Quinnipiac can be more accessible to handicapped people, the way faculty speak about the LGBTQ community, and mental health. Quinnipiac is putting on a passport day in the Piazza on Monday. This will give students a chance to renew or apply for a passport. Prices vary based on whether you're getting an original or a renewal, but if you're looking to get a passport book, which allows for international travel, expect to pay between $110 and $150.
Residential Life is enacting a new policy for on-campus resident assistants. Any new RAs enrolled in the 3+1 program are now no longer allowed to keep this position into his or her graduate year. And as for the 3+1 students already in an RA position, they will be allowed to keep this role into their graduate years. On top of that, all new hires can only serve a maximum of 2 years as an RA.
On November 11th and throughout the year, we take the time to honor our veterans and those who are currently serving.
Quinnipiac came together this past Veterans Day to celebrate our own veteran community, and Ethan McCabe has the story.
This past Monday was a special Monday for everyone because it's Veterans Day. Veterans Day was the day on November 11th, 1918, when World War I ended. Today is a celebration of all the veterans out there. We do this by honoring them with the flag.
Remembering all the people in this country that took the time to take the oath of enlistment and serve this great nation.
I sat down with Jason Burke to interview what Veterans Day means to him.
Well, it's Veterans Day, so it's a symbol of recognizing not only our student veterans here on campus, but our staff and faculty as well. So around the world where there's military installations, every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, local time, wherever that installation is, American forces raise the flag, and then at sunset every day, the flag comes down. So it's just a representation of our student veterans and our ROTC students, symbolizing that on Veterans Day.
From Hampton, Connecticut, this is Ethan McCabe. Back to you guys.
The holiday season is fast approaching, and that means the Hamden Senior Gift Run is back. The program is hosted by a partnership that includes Quinnipiac University and accepts donations such as winter hats, hand sanitizer, decks of cards, and other items for senior citizens in the Hamden area. Gifts can be brought to one of over 20 locations in and around Hamden, but for Quinnipiac students, there's no travel needed. Gifts can be brought to the Student Government Association Suite right here on the Mount Carmel campus. Vice President for Equity and Inclusion Don Sawyer played the role of Dean Hernandez in the production of Baltimore.
I read the script and I was like, well, this sounds like conversations that I've had with students throughout the time that I've been in higher education. And so that wasn't really a stretch to play that role of Dean Hernandez. And so, after I read it, I told her that I would do it.
The play is centered around a racially charged act directed at an African-American student, and Hernandez is an African-American professor at a local university who teaches students the history of race, a task that he takes on in his real job as professor and vice president of equity and inclusion. If a student ever faces a conflict like the one in the play, Sawyer says students should reach out to him and his staff for more support.
Q30 sat down to speak with SGA's new president for finance, Barbara Hiravodka, about her plans in this new role and how she will utilize a financial assistant and SGA's financial committee.
We are teaching the whole finance committee to do more stuff so we can kind of redistribute. That's why we have every student organization has a financial financial representative on a student government that can help to better the communication between the student government and the organization.
Check out the full interview online at Q30TV.com later this week. Student Government Association will be holding another special election this year. This election makes it the third SGA has seen within the past 4 months. The election will be held next Tuesday during SGA's General Board meeting in CCE 101. The position is for the Multicultural and Identity Senator. This position was previously held by Barbara Hiravodka, but last week she was elected as the new Vice President for Finance. Coming up after the break,
we have more on a student-faculty-led discussion and find out what issues were discussed.
Plus, a new gym is opening in Hamden. Find out what they are offering to Quinnipiac students. Stay with us.
Guys, after the break,
Students
is
and
snow
faculty
on the
sat
way?
down.
Well, you'll have to find out in my full weather forecast, but for right now, let's take a look at today, tomorrow, and the coming days ahead. Today, we saw a little bit of sun, but it was very, very cold outside. A high of 35 and a low of 22. Tomorrow you can expect to see some clouds again, but it'll be a high of 44 and a low of 28, so a little bit warmer than it was today. Hopefully that wind doesn't pick up. And on Friday, the sun is going to pop its head out just a little bit, and it'll be a high of 50 and a low of 22. But stay with me for the full weather forecast right after this.
There are amazing things to discover in the forest.
Toothless, time to go! What you picking up on, bud?
It's a whole hidden world of wonders. And the perfect place to spend time with family. What better place to let your imagination soar? Experience nature and create a memory you can share. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
A student-faculty dialogue took place last Thursday. A panel for students and faculty was set up and was used for an open discussion between students and faculty. The groups were able to ask each other questions back and forth about academics and teaching styles. Cassidy Berger has more.
Students and faculty sat down to talk through issues related to academics here at Quinnipiac, including the purpose and structure of first-year seminar, faculty office hours, and inclusion on campus.
I think for me, primary student concern, just in, through what I see with student government and also through what I see through first year seminar, is definitely the question that I asked about the disparity in academics between different FYS classes. I think that that's something that my first year students and a lot of the students on student government are really upset about. But I think overall the conversation was very, very productive.
Faculty also asked students for ways they could improve on teaching style, office hours, and general student interactions.
I love it. It helps set some open expectations of learning here at Quinnipiac University. I really think it also really emphasized the culture of collaboration and dialogue and sharing we have. I loved how the students were openly asking us questions and we were asking the students questions, so just more opportunity for that dialogue. I am really looking forward to that.
The faculty panel was eager to hear how they can motivate their students in their classes and improve their student interactions.
Valuable. I would love to see more of this. I think that in some ways it'd be valuable if faculty and students just had town halls all on their own where we could have these common dialogues, because I think it makes your experience in the classroom better because you hear from us, but also it would make us better professors in the classroom to know who you are better as a body of students.
The event was sponsored by SGA, and students with additional feedback are encouraged to reach out to SGA's academic senators. Reporting for Q30 News, Cassidy Berger.
Professor Kalila Brown Dean had a book signing yesterday for her new book, Identity Politics in the United States. Her book signing was followed by a discussion led by Lucy Nalpathanchil, executive producer and host of WNPR's Where We Live. Books will be available for purchase, and you can find more information at qu.edu/events.
There's a new vice president for marketing and communications. Daryl Richard began this role yesterday and will oversee integrated marketing communications, public affairs, public relations, and the Quinnipiac University Poll, all while serving on the President's Management Committee. Richard comes from United Healthcare, where he served as vice president for corporate communications for the Fortune 500 company, and he comes to Quinnipiac to take the role that was vacated by Lynn Bushnell.
Orange 3 is opening in Hampden. It will be located in the marketplace at Hampden in a few weeks. Quinnipiac students can also expect a discount for a gym membership there. This marks Orange Theory's 13th Connecticut location, having gyms in areas close by such as Milford, Guilford, and Shelton. Students from Hampden visited Quinnipiac to learn more about what it could be an engineer in space. These students are a part of the Hampden Gifted and Talented program. The School of Engineering hosted the students.
Students participated in hands-on activities, toured the labs, and learned more about what it would be like to be an engineer. The Hampden Gifted and Talented program allows students to participate in various studies while providing them opportunities for the future. It's debate running in the Democratic primary. The Quinnipiac Democrats and Quinnipiac Republicans have collaborated on a debate of their own, and it will take place tomorrow night at 6:15 p.m. in CCE 114. The debate.
I want students to come into this event with an open mind. We're planning on having this be a totally judgment-free zone where people are free to express their opinion on whatever side they believe. That's why we chose to have QPSA moderate this event, because we wanted to have a bipartisan group to be able to keep things under control and keep everything professional.
The debate includes 10 topics: impeachment, healthcare, climate change, immigration, gun control, foreign policy, trade, criminal justice, LGBTQ issues, and education, and the debate is open to spectators.
On the topic of politics, a lot has happened on Capitol Hill this morning and yesterday. Skylar Haynes is here to update us what's going on. Sky?
Thanks, Kaylee. Today was a historic one on Capitol Hill. Quinnipiac students could be found watching the very first public hearing in the President Trump impeachment inquiry while it was streamed in the Piazza this morning. Diplomats Bill Taylor and George Kent testified together on many aspects of the Ukraine scandal and the released transcripts. Addressing the House Intelligence Committee and their counsels, Taylor unveiled new information, which he says he was unaware of until after his first deposition. Taylor explained that on July 26, while he was in Kiev, a member of his staff was with U.S. Ambassador to the EU, Gordon Sondland. There, another staffer overheard a cell phone conversation Sondland had with President Trump about the meetings happening in Ukraine. According to Taylor, this staffer could hear Trump asking about the investigations over the phone. After the staffer asked Sondland what Trump thought about the situation in Ukraine, and Sondland allegedly responded that Trump was more interested in the investigations into the Bidens that Rudy Giuliani was leading. And next for the impeachment inquiry this Friday, former Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch is scheduled to testify. The country's eyes are also on the U.S. Supreme Court as they hear a long-awaited case about the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA program. DACA was an executive order of former President Obama's. On Tuesday, the justices heard arguments over the validity of the program itself. This is after the Trump administration moved to formally end DACA, which provides legal status to nearly 700,000 young immigrants who entered the country illegally as children. The move was immediately then challenged in court. President Trump tweeted that, quote, "Many of the people in DACA no longer very young are far from angels. Some are very tough, hardened criminals," end quote. However, many pointed out that DACA recipients are not allowed to stay in the U.S. if they have a criminal record. President Trump has said that he would still consider negotiating a deal with Democrats depending on how the court rules. That's all the politics we have time for today. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Skylar. Is more snow in our future? Kerry Golden has the full weather forecast after the break.
Plus, find out why a university has suspended all fraternity activity on its campus. Hepzibah Rajan is ready with this week's national news. Stay with us.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Oh, hey there. Just a typical Q30 News ad, right?
Or an action-packed sports pause ad.
But it's a Quinnipiac Tonight ad.
From Hampton to Hollywood, we're your...
Nope. Quinnipiac Tonight ad.
Today, President Olean announced
It's a Quinnipiac Tonight ad. The Bobcat tennis team has just scored their first touchdown of the season. Quinnipiac Tonight ad.
live sketch comedy, improv, hysterical pre-tapes, and more at Quinnipiac Tonight, Thursdays, 9:30 in the Piazza.
Kerry Golden is live in the studio tonight to give you a look into this week's forecast.
It sounds like the temperatures are going to be dropping even lower soon. Kerry, is this true?
Yeah, Kaylee and Will, unfortunately that is true. We are going to see some temperatures dropping. Earlier I told you a little bit about what the weather is going to be like tomorrow going into the weekend, but let's take a look at the rest of Connecticut. So we see that temperatures in Norwich are 22, New London is 25, New Haven is actually the warmest right here in the lower part of Connecticut, ranging at 27. Danbury is seeing 19 degrees, Torrington is seeing 21, and Hartford is seeing 23. So those frigid temperatures are really rolling in around Connecticut. So unfortunately, I don't think it's going to get any warmer anytime soon, but is there snow in the future? Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. So when we look at the 7 days, we're going to see that today it is a high of 34, low of 19. Tomorrow, we're going to see the sun come out just a little bit, and it's going to be a high of 44, a low of 29. Friday and Saturday, luckily the sun will come out, and it's going to warm up a little bit on Friday with a high of 51 and a low of 21. Saturday is going to be a high of 37 and a low of 22. And on Sunday, unfortunately, that sun is going to go away. It'll probably be cold again, so make sure you dress really warm. It's going to be a high of 42. On Monday, it is going to be a high of 49 and a low of 37. And unfortunately, to round out my 7-day forecast, it is going to rain on Tuesday, but it will be 52 and a low of 36. So hopefully not too cold, but I do think that winter is on its way. What do you think, Kaylee and Will?
I think you're delivering us all the bad news, Kerry. What's going on?
I don't know. I hope that winter's not far.
Thanks, Kerry. Hepzibah Rajan is here in studio to discuss more of what's been happening nationally and what's new. It's going to be brisk this week.
For the national news. Hepzibah, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Kaylee and Will. To begin, there's been an increase in deaths related to fraternities. A San Diego University student, Dylan Hernandez, died over the weekend after he was hospitalized on Thursday. President Adela de la Torre suspended 14 fraternities under the Interfraternity Council. The cause of death is still unknown. Meanwhile, a Washington State University student died Tuesday morning at a fraternity house. Preliminary investigation indicates the death might be alcohol-related. The official manner and cause of death will be determined by the Whitman County coroner. A McDonald's employee filed a class action lawsuit over sexual harassment claims. Only days after the McDonald's CEO was fired on grounds of misconduct with a co-worker, an employee stepped up to sue the fast food giant and one of its Michigan franchisees. Jenna Reese is one of 50 employees to file separate sexual harassment charges against the chain over the past 3 years. Eve Cervantes, one of Reese's attorneys, said she will argue that McDonald's is responsible for employees at franchise restaurants because the company exerts so much control over franchise operations. Reese is looking for at least $5 million in damages for herself and the other affected workers. Finally, a World War II submarine was found after 75 years. In 1944, the USS Grayback went missing after it was attacked by a Japanese aircraft. There were 80 crew members aboard the submarine when it disappeared. The Lost 52 project located the submarine off the coast of Okinawa, Japan, during an underwater exploration project. The submarine was recovered once they realized that the original coordinate was missing a digit, which made it wrong by 100 miles. Family members of the crew were informed of the rediscovery, and for one of them, this discovery is closure. That's all I have for this week's National News Update. Back to the guys at the desk.
Thank you, Hepzibah. When we come back, hear about the tragedy of a local college athlete who recently lost her life.
Also, Chris Stacy will have a full Quinnipiac sports report for you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
From Hamden to Hollywood, we are your source for entertainment news.
Let's get it going. Sports Plus starts right now. Sports Plus. Sports Plus. Sports Plus. Sports Plus. Sports Plus. Sports Plus.
Sports pause. Sports pause.
Sports Plus. Cam Young drives in. Bucket.
3 minutes in, Rashawn Daly's shot hits the post. However, Eamon Whalen is there to
through the center. Fortunato scores past Adam Huska.
Ties the game up at 8 with a ripper past Jake McGregor.
He will keep it in his zone.
Top 5 plays of the week.
Top 5 plays.
This has been Sports Pod.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out.
Good night. And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Hello and welcome back. A Southern Connecticut State University gymnast died after an accident during a routine practice. The Milford native and 20 years old, Melanie Coleman, succumbed to her spinal injuries when she fell from the uneven bars Friday.
Coleman was a 3-time state champion and a junior nursing major at Southern Connecticut State University. A GoFundMe page has been set up to help her family during the hard time, and of course, our thoughts go out to Melanie's family as well. Chris Dacey now joins us for our sports report. Chris, there's plenty of teams in action this week. How are the Bobcats looking?
Kaylee, Will, thank you. Right you are. Let's start tonight with the basketball teams. The men's basketball team opened up its season with a trip to Providence to play Brown. Brown squeaked out the 70-68 win over the Bobcats to hand the Bobcats an opening night loss. Zach Hunsaker knocked down a 3 with under 10 seconds left to give Brown a 3-point lead. Then the Bobcats turned the ball over on the next possession and were forced to foul and give up 2 foul shots, and that put the game out of reach for Quinnipiac. It doesn't get any easier for the Bobcats as the team travels down to Miami for a matchup to play the Hurricanes on Saturday. Now let's move on to the women's basketball team who took a quick trip down Whitney Ave for its game tonight. In the Battle of Whitney Ave, the women's basketball team fell in a close game just like the men's team. Yale defeated Quinnipiac 63-59 in New Haven. Roxy Barnhart was the lead scorer in the game with 23 points. She shot 55% on the game. For the Bobcats, Michaela Morris led the team with 17 points and 4 rebounds. Up next for the women's basketball team is Bucknell at the People's United Center on Saturday. Now let's take to the pitch as the playoffs for the men's soccer team start tomorrow as a second seed. The Bobcats will host third-seeded Iona in Hamden after the Gales defeated Ryder 2-1 on Sunday. Iona won the regular season matchup against Quinnipiac back on October 26th with a 2-1 win. On the other side of the bracket, top-seeded St. Peter's will host the 4th-seed Marist. So the top 4 teams are in the semifinals for the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Will, I know you're a big soccer guy and big Mac soccer guy. Who do you have winning the tournament this year and going to the NCAA tournament?
You know what? I know St. Peter's is the 1 seed, but truthfully, I wouldn't be scared of the Peacocks if I was anybody else in this tournament. They're 9-1, but 5 of those wins came in overtime. They could easily be 4-6. I don't know who's going to win it, but whoever wins it is going to be the winner of this Quinnipiac Iona game tomorrow at 1 p.m.
Today is World Kindness Day. The day was introduced in 1998 by the World Kindness Movement. A few suggested ways to celebrate World Kindness Day include complimenting 5 people, let the person behind you go in line first, and to leave happy notes around places.
Kayla, what'd you do for National Kindness Day today?
I actually bought my professor a coffee.
Really?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes, I know.
Good for you. I wish I could say the same. I'm glad.
I know.
I can't say the same. I held doors open for people,
That's very nice.
But I was on the receiving end because I'm a little bit low on meal plan right now, and so people helped me out a little bit. But giving and receiving, what's the difference?
Yeah.
So.
Well, that is all the time we have for this week for the Q30 Newscast. Be sure to stay up to date by following us on Twitter at Q30 News and check out our content at Q30TV.com.
For all of our producers and everybody behind the scenes, that's Kaylee Heffler. I'm Will Fowler. Good night, Quinnipiac.